Okay, so in our property walkthrough series, I was super excited to show you this one. And we come here, I don't know if you can see the street signs, every single block in this neighborhood for 4-block radius, they happen today of all days to be cleaning the streets. So I parked like 2.5 blocks away, but the show must go on. So I'm just gonna head over to the property. I'll see you guys inside. The owner is actually very involved in this renovation before we take it over and get it rented. But I always like to go through and kind of make suggestions. Now we have an older property in what we call the west end of Winnipeg. It's a decent neighborhood, lots of people that move in here. We're literally a 5-minute drive from one of our best shopping centers in the city, and just lots of families that are in here. But when you look at everything, you kind of see a tired house. Obviously nothing that paint can't take care of. Obviously the grass needs to be cut. But when we look at the windows, we do see windows that are vinyl, so that's good, vinyl PVC. So the windows don't need to be changed. The eaves troughs are good and straight, and the roof looks okay. I can see up there a couple of screens are damaged. That happens between tenancies, so we have to take care of that. And then when we're talking about what we have here, which is the porch and the deck. So you can see here that we've got some steps that are kind of a little bit soft. It's great, it's weathered. You know, we've got a railing here that's a little bit loose. But really what I'm more worried about is this really loose floorboards here, right? It's rotted, it's gray. Like, I don't weigh a lot, but I feel like I'm gonna fall through here. So I'd be advising the owner to be taking care of this. And as well, I can feel that the slope of this is kind of leaning. Like if I'm standing here, I actually feel like I'm gonna fall over. If I had a marble with me, which is an old realtor trick, I would put it on here and probably everything would roll off. So I'm thinking if the owner is going to be having their contractors lift this, they should probably go underneath and see if the porch can't be shored up a little bit or lifted. Okay, so let's go ahead inside and I'll show you the rest of everything. All right, we're at a house, or we're inside the house now after that very long walk. A lot of work that has to be done in here. The story with this is the owner has gotten their contractors involved, so you're gonna see a little bit of demo here and there. What I wanna do is kind of show you guys what the house looks like and give you some tips and tricks to maximize value for your rental. So let's just go into your standard living room. I mean, this house is probably 100 years old. We do see some damage here. I mean, I think this is obvious. I can see some toilet leaking. There's a fern co up there. Now this looks bad. So if you're purchasing this property, you actually want this type of thing because you can actually negotiate a lower price point. But for fixing it, it's a couple sheets of drywall. The floor here, based on what I see, I'm just guessing that there probably was laminate flooring here, and you can just see because there's some filler strips in the back here. So this room is technically just paint and flooring, okay? Patch paint flooring. Windows are vinyl. I do see little tiny details, which I will show you guys here. You got kind of an old vent here that's, I don't know if you can see how bent that is. Don't just put this back in, you know, spend the extra $5-8 at Home Depot, and that'll be a nice floor vent there. So yes, you see holes in the walls. Yes, it looks like a typical tenant rental house, but once this is patched, literally there's just patch and paint. Now, when we back up in here, I actually have a small little dining room, and I already walked through the house and I want to give you guys some tips on a little bit more layout things. So if this is a dining room, we can see through here, we have sort of a bedroom and we have a kitchen on this side. Fine, so we have a living room over there, a dining room on this side. And then over here, we actually, if I'm standing here, we're in the kitchen and the contractors have already torn everything out. Now, I saw pictures of this place. These cabinets that they chose to tear out, and the owner's very smart for doing this, were those painted plywood cabinets, kind of stained, you know, 1950s, 1960s. And most investors just go to Home Depot, they paint the cabinets, and they put nice little handles. And I might not be very popular for saying this, but that comes from kind of all of the home and garden shows, all of the reality TV shows. To me, you're not getting value. When you think, you always got to think, what can I put into the property and what am I going to get back out? And an IKEA kitchen or Home Depot, or even going to the refit store and putting newer cabinets in here with a new countertop, probably going to increase the value of the property with a new kitchen by at least 50 grand. So then you think, if I'm refining at 80%, I have $40,000 to spend on my kitchen, and I don't think you're going to have to spend more than $8,000 to $10,000 in this tiny little kitchen. Okay, so that's what I would do there. Now we walk into this room, which is really interesting because this technically, I guess, is a bedroom. It's got a window, it's got a heating register, it's got a closet, okay? But it also has a door here to something else, but it's also a decent size. Now, other warning signs before I get my contractors to paint, I see some water damage here, and it's within the top, the 2 feet of the outside. So I'm guessing because this is a porch, kind of an extra building, probably if the shingles are okay on the outside, I'm going to get my contractors to make sure that that's ice damming damage. So let's pretend that this is a bedroom, okay? But we've got this kind of really weird room on the side here. There's no actual back door, there's a side door to this house. So I am actually standing in a bonus room. Now, we already have a closet in that room. What is this going to be? And if you kind of pan over here, we have another doorway into the kitchen. If I'm advising the owner, I'm also thinking it's an unfinished basement. We'll show you that in a second. And there's a nice little kind of, if you pan in here, kind of alcove, not sure. Like right now they have an extra fridge, but there already is a fridge. And again, just because there's an old fridge here, we don't even know if it works. What I would be doing here for what it costs is I'd be doing main floor laundry. Again, you're going to be able to attract a better tenant, charge more rent, and it's going to be worth more in the property in general. And because the kitchen is so small, even if you've got brand new cabinets and a little bit of a dining room over there, I would put a stackable washer and dryer here. And on this side, I would just buy that wire shelving from Home Depot, the Rubbermaid stuff. Put, floor to ceiling shelving here, kind of wrap it around. Now you've got a nice walk-in pantry, place to hang your jackets, and you've got main floor laundry. So now, let's just take a little trip into the basement, okay? Now, I'm gonna kind of show you why I would recommend main floor laundry. Now, when we talk about the stairs here, most stairs have a 7-inch rise and run. And when I step down here, we've got at least 10 inches. Like I don't have a tape measure, but it's hard to navigate this corner. Now, picture that I have a family with kids upstairs. I've got a big laundry basket on my hip, and I'm trying to negotiate these stairs, which are not to code. And now I'm going to try to walk down these basement stairs, bang my head on this every single time, right? So I have to duck my head. I've got my laundry into what is a relatively spooky type of typical basement. I'm not a tall guy, and I can almost bang my head on this furnace vent. And then we have our washer and dryer. So you don't have to worry about if the electrical of the house can handle it, because you're going to be moving this circuit for the dryer upstairs. And again, to put plumbing and electrical into that space, I would definitely be moving these upstairs. Then this basement just becomes what it is, an old basement. Now, the only other thing I will mention, and you can't see it in the video upstairs, and it's an old house, okay? It looks like concrete. I'm guessing it's a stone foundation that has been floated over. You can feel the floors upstairs moving, like they're really slanted. And so it might not be the time to do this right now, but whenever I go into one of these houses and I feel that slant, clearly this beam has sunk, okay? Because you've got the outside foundation and the beams. So depending on how much work you're doing, if you're replacing windows, if you're replacing doors, that is the time to start jacking these things up, making sure you have a footing, obviously, because when you make everything straight, all the doors and windows won't close anymore. But if you're changing those anyways, make sure the thing is level. And again, you might spend a couple $1,000s leveling it out, but what are you going to get back on the refi? Because now the appraiser walks in and you have a nice straight level house with brand new doors and windows. So those are some things. So let's go all the way up to the second story and we'll see what we have there in terms of renovations that we need to do. All right, so we have an old staircase here. Again, you can actually see the old plaster and lath in the back. Nothing that a little bit of patch and paint can't take care of. You know, one thing I always like to do is just make sure that the banisters are nice and steady. Seeing that we have enough room here that a mattress can actually go and navigate these stairs. So all I've seen so far, again, it's not that bad. If you're painting anyways, it's really painting carpet. We have a light there. Now we have some trim that needs to be put back here. And we actually have a really, really big bedroom up here. And this is typical of these old 2 stories, okay? Now, it looks bad. You've got this old, I'm guessing, asbestos tile. Definitely, if you're going to be touching this, which I wouldn't, make sure you get it tested. Health and safety is going to be all over you for that. Or just put laminate right on top of it. It might have had laminate before. It's hard to say. Vinyl windows, not too bad. Again, holes in the wall, just paint and patch. A little bit of a screen that has to be done. Standard landlording stuff. So again, this room, paint and flooring. You could consider carpet here just because it's echoing so much, but vinyl flooring definitely has a lot of more longevity. Now we have a bathroom here. I don't necessarily like the color. Just turned on the fan. I can hear the fan is working. Now we have a light on the side here. Another tip that I would do, especially if you're renting this out, is to wire that fan. Right now it's on a separate switch. I would wire that in to the light itself. Just means the fan is running all the time when somebody's here, because somebody's going to forget at some point to turn on the fan when they're taking a shower. All the moisture gets in here, and then that introduces the possibility of mold. Now in here, it's not too bad. Like I'm looking, you know, the tiles seem okay. They're pretty solid. I probably wouldn't do anything. I don't see, there's a little bit of soap scum and mold here. So again, just recalk the tub, paint, tile on the floor. Everything seems to be not too bad here. So this is actually one of the rooms that you don't have to do much except for just painting. We have another room over here. Again, you can see that I'm guessing that the contractors had ripped out all of this flooring, okay? It's a really, really small room. And like I had said, you can call it a room, but it doesn't have a closet. I mean, what can you fit in here? Maybe a single bed this way. I guess, I mean, for a family, you can call it a room. It's not exactly desirable, but you know, maybe for a kid, maybe for an extra office, okay? And then we have this other 3rd bedroom here with a bonus porch, okay? So this is actually, what do you do, okay? Do you call this a bedroom? But then you've got, clearly this is gonna probably, I don't know if I can even open this. Okay, maybe we'll just leave that, but let's see if I can even open this. We'll just put that right back like that. Okay, so I'm stepping out here. Like this is actually really nice. You can see though that they've got, you know, clearly that we're above the bedroom downstairs where we had that leaking. So there's probably something, like I can see here, it's not exactly sealed properly. I don't want to bounce too much, but again, if there's going to be a tenant here, they're going to have lawn chairs or whatever, you got to be thinking, are they going to be poking holes down here? Or do we want to put a false deck above this, keep the waterproofing, and then make sure that you actually have a way to prevent damage to this? But very, very nice extra space. The question is going to be, how do you prevent this from all the air from leaking through? Because this is just a single door. There's hardly any weather stripping. And you can see here, there's evidence. Somebody put some aluminum foil here. So they probably had this whole thing aluminum foil trying to prevent the cold air from coming in. So it's a bonus space. I can already see the marketing that you could do for a rental property. And also if you do take the time now and you put the time into making this structurally sound, you could even put a screened in porch over there. And then what does this become? This could become a bonus room. I don't know if it would be a bedroom that actually has out to the outside, or maybe it becomes kind of a master bedroom. There's no closet. So again, just trying to be creative. So now because we turned that room downstairs into a bedroom, this house was originally listed as a 3-bedroom. I would say that you could probably call it a 4-bedroom. And because it's a 4-bedroom, now you get extra value on your refi, okay?